After the first 100 years, some people stop taking chances. With a new young body, or at least a healthy one, every 10 or 12 years, there's a strong temptation to go out and use it. But if you did try to occupy centuries climbing mountains, skin diving, abseiling, and so forth, sooner or later the force of statistics would catch up with you. The Stileman clinics will cleanse you of cancer and sclerosis and make your vital organs and muscle and bone think they're brand new again. But lose a wing in a sudden storm, and you're as dead as any mortal, any ephemeral. Dallas Barr had ignored this reality for almost a century. He had sailed around the world in a 40-foot sloop, had braved vicious currents to swim the lonely corridors of the Titanic, had come to terms with himself in a winter-long Antarctic vigil. On the moon, he had climbed the Strait Wall and tramped the Plato Desert in search of fairy lights. He had bought his way onto the first team to climb Olympus Mons on Mars. Then, just before his 9th rejuvenation, he had been rappelling down an easy cliff in Australia's Blue Mountains when a foolproof rope snapped to give him 3 seconds of weightlessness and then a broken back. That almost killed him, twice. It's hard to amass a fortune immobilized inside a body cast and either distracted by constant pain or dulled by analgesia. The 9th fortune is easier than the first, though, and a person without a knack for making money has to get used to the idea of growing old. Lord Stileman himself had lived only to 105, dying in the fiery wreckage of an antique racing car. By then, his clinics already were the second wealthiest foundation in the world, and only a few years away from first place. The only people who got immortality for free were King Richard, a few politicians and administrators, and about 100 medical people, each of whom guarded one part of the complicated secret that was the Stileman Process. Everyone else bought the next dozen years on the same terms. All your worldly goods signed over to the foundation. And don't even reach for your checkbook if you have less than £1 million. Your perennial £1 million didn't buy true immortality, not in the absolute sense. The Stileman regeneration clinics could slow down the decay of brain tissue, but couldn't stop it altogether. Nobody had lived long enough to put it to the test, but from the clinic's extrapolations, it looked as if the upper limit would be less than 1,000 years. Sooner or later, your brain would fog up, and when your time came around, you wouldn't be able to find £1 million. You would grow old and die. Dallas Barr didn't spend much time mulling over that, even though he'd been in the first Stileman group and was therefore one of the oldest people in the world. Tightrope walkers don't worry about distance records. When he'd hurtled down the side of that cliff, Dallas had been in the 9th year of his current rejuvenation. A disastrous poker game in Adelaide, which he'd hoped would put him over the £1 million mark, had left him with less than 50,000 Australian dollars. He had about 2 years to multiply that by 60,